I have one of the longest tongues in the world.
Well, actually, it's great for me to realize I'm the queen of the longest leg.
He holds the Guinness World Record certificate for, yes, you guessed it, the world's widest mouth.
Some people are simply born with impressively long features, while others devote their lives to reaching record-breaking lengths. However they come by their unique attributes, there's no doubt these individuals add some extra intrigue to life. From a hairdo as heavy as a toddler to a woman who can lick her own ear, here are 20 of the longest body parts in the world. Number 20. World's longest legs. There's no doubt that some body parts get more useful the longer they get. Oh, stop! I'm talking about arms. Maybe you could be extremely good at reaching things for short people at the store or perhaps give really great hugs. But what about very long legs? Well, you could jump over things with ease, possibly even just step over regular obstacles like benches or fences. And having long legs usually goes hand in hand with being tall. Being very tall can definitely have some perks, but it also has its downsides. How do you fit in a bathtub? And don't even think about airplane seating. However, for Macy Curran, having long legs was something she wanted to celebrate. The 17-year-old has a couple of world records under her belt. She's the proud owner of the title of longest legs as well as longest legs on a teenager. Her left leg measures 53.255 inches long, and her right leg is 52.874 inches. That's almost 4.5 feet. The Texan teenager is 6 feet 10 inches tall, but her long legs make up 60% of her height. This certainly gave her the edge when she played in her high school volleyball team, but it's her message of body positivity that really shines. She wants to highlight how being tall is a gift and to encourage other tall women to embrace their height and be true to themselves. Number 19. Ayanna Williams, the woman with the world's longest fingernails. Ayanna Williams from Houston, Texas, joined the ranks of the Guinness World Record holders in 2017 when she was declared the woman with the world's longest fingernails. She'd been growing her fingernails for a staggering 29 years. You can only imagine how on earth she managed to do all kinds of everyday tasks. Well, actually, it turns out that she couldn't do some things anymore at all. Having the world's longest fingernails isn't for the less than completely dedicated individual. This thing takes a lot of work to maintain. Williams had been growing her own set of talons since the early 90s, and as the years went by, it became more and more of a full-time occupation. In 2017, she first entered the record-breaking charts with her nails measuring a combined length of 18 feet 10.9 inches, a staggering length. They would take 2 bottles of nail polish and 20 hours to keep them looking pretty. By the time she made the decision to finally cut her fingernails and get on with her life, they measured a colossal 24 feet. At that point, they took a couple of days and 3 or 4 bottles of nail polish to complete a manicure. Her talons are now on display at Ripley's Believe It or Not in Orlando, Florida, if you're into that sort of thing. Number 18. Long neck villages. This extremely controversial place has all the internet people getting their panties in all kinds of bunches, perhaps for good reason. In northwest Thailand, there's a village that's famous as a tourist hotspot where people can visit the long neck women who are known for their tradition of wearing coils of brass rings to elongate their necks. Sounds uncomfortable, and yes, it is in more ways than one. These women are refugees from Myanmar, who have escaped poverty and conflict and sought asylum in Thailand. The Kaya people of Myanmar are a marginalized ethnic group who face persecution in their own country, and perhaps exploitation as a cultural curiosity in their adopted land. Tourists pay to enter the village to take selfies with the women, and there are market stalls selling souvenirs. This is one of the only ways these women are able to make enough money to survive. Despite the outside view that this place is nothing more than a human zoo and that tourists should stop visiting, this is these people's only source of income, so it's a total catch-22 situation. What do you think about it? Is it a zoo? Or is it a way for these marginalized people to survive? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Number 17. The world's longest tongue, male. Nick Stoeberl from California has been bestowed with the great gift of the longest tongue in the world, at a breathtaking 3.97 inches, measuring from the tip to the middle of his closed top lip. His tongue is quite a mouthful. The record-breaking measurements were taken in 2015 and overtook the existing record by 0.11 inches. Friends often joke that his tongue deserves its own personality, and Nick has even thought about naming it. His unique feature has gained him some viral fame online, and he's even appeared on talk shows to show off his record-setting tongue. But honestly though, just look at the thing. It's like it has a mind of its own. And why does he keep doing that face? As a kid, this guy would imitate Gene Simmons of Kiss and then discovered that he himself also had a super long tongue. He's a bit of a show-off as well, an actor and a comedian, and he isn't shy about sharing his gift for tongue-based activities. He also especially enjoys boasting about how he can not only lick his own nose but also his elbow. That's really useful. Number 16. World record for longest beard, female. A young woman from Slough in the UK became the youngest woman in the world to grow a full beard. She wanted to participate in the world record attempt as part of her endeavor to overcome many years of bullying that she had endured because of her unusual appearance. The 24-year-old, named Harnum Kaur, is a body positivity activist whose work attempts to change people's ideas about different sorts of bodies. She suffers from a health condition called polycystic ovary syndrome, which affects women's hormones and can cause excessive hair growth, often on the face. Her world record stands at a full beard that measures 6 inches long, and with the publicity that comes along with breaking a record, she hopes to raise awareness of the condition and to offer a positive example of a different body image. She became the first female with a beard to walk the London Fashion Week runway back in 2016 and has continued taking huge strides toward overcoming prejudices and combating bullies. Now it's time for today's topic. On the left, you see Thomas Wadhouse, famously known as the man with the longest nose in recorded history. His nose measured an astonishing 7.5 inches, earning him a place in history books and a reputation as one of the most unusual figures of his time. Thomas's unique feature became a spectacle in 18th century England, where he was often exhibited in fairs, leaving people both amazed and bewildered by his distinctive appearance. On the right stands Leonard Longneck Campbell, a man from a remote village in Kenya, renowned for his extraordinary neck, measuring an incredible 13 inches in length. Leonard's unique trait began to develop in his late teens, surprising both his family and local villagers. Traditional healers and doctors alike were left baffled, unable to explain why his neck continued to grow far beyond the average. Over time, Leonard's elongated neck attracted international attention, with visitors traveling from afar to catch a glimpse of the man with the world's longest neck. Though from different continents and eras, both Thomas and Leonard share the legacy of being marvels of human anatomy. Their extraordinary features have sparked fascination worldwide, symbolizing the incredible diversity in human form and the mysteries of unique genetic anomalies. Number 15. The longest ear hair. If it's your lot in life to have a lot of hair sprouting out of your orifices, then don't fight it. Embrace it and set your sights on a body hair-based goal instead, just like an Indian grocer by the name of Radhakant Bajpai has done. He won the most admired honor of being the owner of the hairiest ears on the planet. He was previously the record holder in 2003 when his tufts measured in at 13.2 centimeters, or just over 5 inches, which is adequate really in the field of ear hair. But hair does have a habit of growing, so he continued on with the pursuit of hairier ears and planned to smash his old record with a new, much more hirsute offering. Over the years, his family has come to see his ear hair as a source of pride, even jokingly referring to it as his signature look. His grandchildren love to tease him, asking if he ever braids it for special occasions. Neighbors often ask him for grooming tips, wondering how he maintains such an impressive length without tangling. And it finally is official now that the Guinness Book of World Records has measured his ear barnets and verified that, at 25 centimeters in length, around 10 inches, he does indeed still have the longest they've ever seen. I wonder if he has it coiffed at the hairdressers, and does he have to wear little ear nets when he's working at the grocery? It just makes one wonder. Number 14. German dentist pulls world's longest known human tooth. In 2018, an unfortunate patient sought help for severe dental pain, and that's when the dentist in Offenbach, Germany, couldn't believe the size of the tooth that was causing the trouble. Initial x-rays of the area showed that the tooth was extraordinarily long, but it wasn't until it had been fully extracted that the dentist was completely taken aback. The tooth measured a crazy 1.46 inches, or 3.72 centimeters, which broke the previous record for the longest human tooth ever extracted, which had been 3.7 centimeters. As the tooth came out, even the dental staff were stunned, snapping pictures to document the unusual find. The extraction itself was tricky, requiring specialized tools and quite a bit of patience to ensure the tooth didn't fracture. The dentist later remarked that it was like pulling out a mini tree trunk. The patient reportedly kept the tooth as a souvenir, a unique reminder of a rather painful experience. It's no wonder that this guy couldn't handle the tooth. Apparently, it had caused a lot of swelling and massive inflammation in the patient's upper jaw. In fact, the length of the tooth meant that the pain had traveled all the way up his face, and it even started to affect his right eye. Ouch! Number 13. Longest mustache ever. In the Indian state of Rajasthan, there resides a man who has involved himself in the lifelong endeavor of growing the world's longest mustache. He's taken his facial hair obsession to fantastic lengths and holds the current world record for his efforts. Throughout history in India, the mustache has been a source of masculine pride and identity, so growing the world's longest mustache ever is steeped in cultural significance, as well as the personal obsession of one man. Ram Singh Chauhan is that man, and his mighty mustache measures a magnificent 14 feet long. Now, with great facial hair comes great responsibility. This mustache requires a full 2 hours of grooming to be performed daily in order to keep it in such luxuriant condition. but he may be taking it a bit too far when he compares the growing of a mustache to the nurturing of a baby. I mean, just 2 hours a day? Is he kidding? Turns out that as well as being a world record-breaking mustache, this is also a movie star mustache and can be seen during a cameo on the face of its owner in the 1983 James Bond movie Octopussy. Who knew that facial hair could lead to such glamorous places? Number 12. Largest feet in the world. A guy by the name of Hernandez from Venezuela is the proud, if tricky to fit for shoes, holder of the record for the world's largest feet. His big old plates of meat are the actual hugest there have ever been, measuring 1.33 feet and 1.32 feet. Still, how is a foot more than a foot? Now, to put all of that into perspective, if you were to imagine a United States size 26, that's how big these titanic trotters actually are. But I say imagine a size 26 because you can't just pop into a store and pick up a pair. No, he has to go to a specialist shoemaker in Germany to get his supersized shoes custom crafted for his unique feet. Even something as simple as shopping for socks is a challenge, as most brands don't make anything remotely close to his size. His custom shoes are so large that they draw stares wherever he goes, and he's often asked if they're part of a costume. At times, his feet have even made headlines in the local press, adding a bit of fame to his unusual predicament. Not only does the guy have big feet, but he's also very tall indeed. At 7 feet 2.6 inches, he looks much more in proportion to his extremities than you would otherwise imagine. But with such unusual dimensions, you have to feel for the guy. He has to travel the globe to get footwear to fit. But just how does he ever find an airplane seat that doesn't require him to fold himself into? Number 11. Longest head of hair, female. When Xie Choping was just 13 years old, she decided to stop having her hair cut and let it grow and grow and grow. In fact, she's been growing her hair since that day in 1973 and hasn't quit yet. Despite what may seem like sizable difficulties to mere mortals of the follicular world, she says it really is no trouble at all. Apparently, she's used to it. She claims the sheer weight of her hair doesn't bother her much, although she admits it can be a bit of a workout to carry around. Friends and family are often in awe of her dedication, and she even jokes that her hair feels like an extra layer of warmth in winter. For Xie, combing it has become a meditative ritual, taking hours but offering her peace of mind. I can't imagine just how long it takes to wash and comb out this hairdo, let alone the cost of conditioner. But then again, I also imagine she's making huge savings in hairdresser bills. But just how long is the longest head of hair on a female individual? Well, back in 2004, it broke all the records at an impressive 18 feet 5.54 inches when she was measured by those clipboard nerds at the Guinness Book of World Records. That's when they recorded her as the official record holder, and she remains so to this day. I dread to think about so many decades worth of split ends though. Number 10. Longest nose on a living person. While some of the items on this list seem to involve a certain degree of conscious choice, that really cannot be said about having the longest nose in the world. That seems like a blessing bestowed upon one, rather than a participatory activity. So, who is the proud owner of the longest schnoz, and exactly how long can such an appendage be? Well, the incredible conch that Mehmet Oziorek is sporting measures 3.46 inches from the bridge to the tip. That's 8.8 centimeters for you Europeans. His nose has even garnered him some local fame in Turkey, where people affectionately call him Nose King. Despite its length, Mehmet has learned to embrace his unique feature, saying it's simply part of who he is. He even jokes that his nose is handy in keeping his glasses in place without slipping. Friends and family admire his confident attitude, noting that he never shies away from a good laugh about his distinctive feature. And his sense of smell? He claims it's top-notch. If that thing about your nose continuing to grow as you age is true, then this beak may actually be bigger yet. The clipboard crew from Guinness gave his protracted appendage a thorough measuring back in 2010, so heaven only knows how lengthy his hooter is these days. Number 9. Man has incredibly long toes. Having extremely long toes sounds like an amusing kind of affliction, but unfortunately for this particular guy, his massive toes were the bane of his existence. Seeking help for his painful long toes, a Russian man named Vako did what any of us would do. He went on television to have them fixed. The show he appeared on was My Feet Are Killing Me, a seemingly niche subject area you would think, but for specialist foot and ankle surgeon Dr. Brad Schaefer, weird feet and finger toes are all in a day's work. He took one look at Vako's toes and was taken aback by the size of them, claiming that they were just about the longest toes he'd ever seen. You would assume that this guy had seen more than his fair share of flanges. Luckily for poor old Vako and his terrible toe problem, Dr. Schaefer just loves a little light toe trimming surgery in the afternoon. So he sets to work on the disorderly digits, sawing and grinding and doing all kinds of unspeakable things, all before cobbling it all back together in a smaller and neater package than previously. Well, you'll no doubt be delighted to learn that the surgery was a total success, and Vako is now just walking around on boring old regular-toed tootsies like the rest of us. Number 8. Longest head of hair, male. Apparently, 2004 was the year for measuring hair-based world records, and the people at Guinness went off to Vietnam to check out the claim of a guy with the longest of locks. Tran Van Hay was 73 years old when he took possession of the record. His barnet measured over 20 feet long, but to be honest, since he hadn't had a haircut since he was 25 years old, you might expect it to be longer than average. Maintaining such a mane required a lot of time and patience. He didn't wash it very often, as the process was lengthy and labor-intensive. People who knew him mentioned how he would carefully coil it into a large wrap to keep it manageable during his daily routines. Friends and family even helped him care for the hair by ensuring it was secure whenever he left the house. Now, the thing with that much hair is that, as well as being very long, it's also very heavy. The guy's hair weighed about 23 pounds. That's like going around with a toddler set up on top of your head all day long. The guy must be sporting some serious neck muscle. Although Tran Van Hay mostly kept his long hairdo wrapped in a massive turban, those who have seen it say that it's mostly just a huge dreadlock, which people liken to a massive fat python. And although getting in the world record books is no doubt something quite exciting, the general inconvenience of lugging such a weighty mane around does limit the possibilities of daily life somewhat. Number 7. Longest eyebrow hair in the world. A good, solid brow is a handsome feature, that's a given. But at what point does a masculine eyebrow creep out of the desirable and into Wookiee territory? Well, just a guess, but perhaps many years before you have any eyebrow hairs that get in your mouth when you're eating. Of course, brows do get longer as people age, but there are ways to limit this excessive length, should you not be attempting a world record, that is. For Zhang Shusin, however, the extra-long eyebrow hair has become a symbol of pride and even brings a bit of local fame. Neighbors often stop him to ask about his eyebrow care routine, curious to know if he's planning on breaking his own record someday. Apparently, in China, there's also a notion that long eyebrows are a sign of health and long life, so growing the longest in the world is likely extra lucky. An elderly Chinese man named Zhang Shusin holds the official title for the world record for longest eyebrow hair. He achieved his 7.5-inch hair back in 2016 and finds that his length tucks rather neatly behind his right ear, which is fortunate, really. You wouldn't want to discover that it had dropped off into your dinner, would you? Number 6. Longest beard on a living person, male. This guy had a beard way before it was the hip and cool thing to do. In fact, he's been growing his beard for such a long time that it's reached world record-breaking lengths. Sarwan Singh was measured and verified by the Guinness Clipboard Clutchers back in 2011, when they recorded a beard of 8 feet 2.5 inches. It turns out the guy's pretty attached to his face fuzz and has said that without his beard, he simply wouldn't be himself. He has to spend a significant amount of time caring for his beard, using special oils to keep it soft and healthy. Surprisingly, he even has a unique way of wrapping it up to avoid tripping over it while walking. Friends and family know his beard as an iconic part of his personality, and he's received various beard care products as gifts over the years. But just what are some of the benefits of being the beardiest human on the planet? Well, it would seem that Singh has a built-in scarf which is no doubt excellent in chillier climates, but it could pose a risk of strangulation if he got accidentally tangled up in it. Then, of course, there's the novelty factor. He is invited to appear on television to demonstrate his flowing facial hair, and it's the eternal icebreaker in awkward social situations. What a talented bunch of bristles he has. But believe me, I get it, because I've had a beard so long, I can't even remember what my own cheeks look like. Number 5. Woman breaks her own record for longest eyelash. What's all this nonsense? Is it even possible to get one's eyelashes to grow longer? This is an unusual thing to be able to do, so if you're strapped for lash, maybe you can take some inspiration from this story. Apparently, there is a woman from China who can grow incredibly long eyelashes. She has a slightly bizarre explanation for this ability, putting it down to her having spent 480 days in the mountains, where she believes Buddha gifted her with the lengthy lashes. Some even say she treats them with special herbal oils and keeps them delicately brushed to maintain their impressive look. Surprisingly, these lashes don't seem to interfere with her daily life, though she does admit they sometimes brush against her cheeks. It's not your average gift, but who are we to question a deity? Who knew long eyelashes were so closely related to mountain visits? Not I. In 2021, when she presented her latest eyelash extravaganza to the adjudicators at the Guinness Book of World Records, they measured her longest lash at 20.5 centimeters, which is over 8 inches long. The weight of these super long eyelashes must be quite something. I wonder if it's extra tiring to blink. Number 4. Longest fingernails on a single hand ever. Again with the gross, curly-whirly fingernails. This guy has pretty much nailed down the world record for the grossest, but officially the longest fingernails on a single hand ever, which is something to which I know we all aspire. The Guinness Book of World Records sent their pencil pushers over to India to take a look at Mr. Sridhar Chill's talons back in 2014. They were most satisfied with what they found there and duly awarded him with the coveted title. Incredibly, Chillel hadn't cut these nails for over 6 decades, each nail growing more twisted and curling around itself with every passing year. To maintain them, he had to perform special care routines, using oils and regularly massaging his fingers to manage the weight. The combined total for all these claws comes in at an absurd 358.1 inches. The nails hang out on his left hand, and they really do hang. How do you even get things done? Do you have to push around a little cart to carry your nails with you everywhere you go? How do you even sleep without accidentally stabbing yourself when you roll over? There are just so many questions, but above all, you have to ask, why? For the love of Mike, just why? Number 3. Longest facial hair. Supatra Sasipan, known as Natty, from Bangkok, Thailand, has an extremely rare genetic condition called Ambras syndrome, which is also sometimes called werewolf syndrome. This is a terrible and difficult to control condition that causes excessive hair growth all over the body, including the face. It has only affected a very small number of people throughout history, and there's no known cure. Natty has suffered from Ambras syndrome since birth and was in the hospital for 10 months as a result of other aspects of the condition, which made it difficult for her to breathe. As she's grown up, other issues like poor vision and slow-growing teeth have also caused problems. But the most obvious sign of the disease is the excessive hair that covers her face. Yet, Natty has refused to let this hold her back. She's been bullied for the way she looks and has been called nasty names, but she has also stood up proudly and enjoys her life. She decided to embrace her hair and became a Guinness World Record holder for the hairiest girl in the world back in 2010. Although treatments like laser hair removal are ineffective against this condition, perhaps even increasing the hair growth, Natty and her family are hopeful that there will one day be a cure for her syndrome. Number 2. The longest toenails. Now, if it weren't bad enough to have to keep looking at all these gross long brown fingernails, here's something that's actually worse: the world's longest toenails. It's gross. It's so absolutely gross. It is considerably trickier to grow really long toenails than it is to grow long fingernails because, all that walking around business causes a lot more wear and tear, and breakages are much more common. So, you have to wonder why this is even something somebody would want to do. But apparently, not everyone is as repulsed by the creepy long nails as I am. In fact, some people really like it. One such individual was Louise Hollis, who saw a television show about the world's longest fingernails in 1982. It was this show that inspired her to grow her own nails. She continued to grow her toenails until they reached record-breaking lengths in 1991, when the combined length of her toenails was a shocking 87 inches. She still continues to grow her nails, but they've not reached such measurements again since. It's a fairly difficult activity to keep your toenails this long. Hollis currently has toenails that are each around 6 inches long, and this means that she can't even wear shoes. That's obvious, but if she absolutely has to put on footwear for any reason, she has to wear open-toed sandals with a minimum of 3-inch thick soles. Otherwise, her toenails scrape the ground when she walks. This is just too much. Number 1. The longest tongue, female. A young woman from Florida has a few surprising talents up her sleeve. Well, actually, in her mouth. She may have the longest tongue in the world, and it's really stretchy, too. Poking her tongue out all over the internet, the 20-year-old has demonstrated such skills as the classic tongue on the tip of the nose, through to stretching her tongue all the way to her eyeball, her earlobe, and even licking her own elbow. That's right, she can actually do that. Her talents have even earned her viral fame, with thousands of fans online fascinated by what she can do. She's been invited on talk shows and featured in numerous videos showing just how far she can stretch that impressive tongue. So just how long could this extremely long tongue actually be? Well, she says that it measures 4.48 inches long. Although to officially be a world record, those nerds from Guinness would have to come measure it with their special ruler. But if it is that long, then this girl's tongue is the longest on the planet by as much as a half an inch. But don't even think about making any saucy comments about the length of her tongue and what it can reach. That's rude and nasty, and she's not putting up with any of your nonsense. Thank you very much. It seems that having the longest version of a body part can sometimes be more of a burden than a blessing. But it often takes a character just as unique to overcome the challenges of being different in a world that's quick to judge. Some of the people we've met today have truly inspiring approaches to life, don't they? Let us know your thoughts on these extraordinary stories in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the other cool videos popping up on the screen. See you next time.